Richard Mayer. All right. We certainly appreciate your help from uh, H2 Canada, H2K Canada, and we appreciate the information that you provide, information provided by Dr. Mann and our other ghosts, our other guests this evening, Crystal Woodside, Hillary Duncombe, and as usual, if I get a chance, if I can get it in, I'm gonna try to talk again tonight, but you may just have to listen to the people that really know what they're talking about that are nice enough to be our co-host this evening. That's why I call myself a co-host. Tiffany and Alexandria. Is Alexandria with us tonight?
I am waiting for her to log on right now, but as of now, she's not as yet. But she will be in soon.
Excellent. Well, I'm glad she's back. So what's going on your end with H2 Canada, H2K Canada, Tiffany? How's the Diabesoft and the Borototal creams? How are they working?
Well, thanks to you and your awesome peoples, everyone. Thank you so much. The Borototal and the Diabesoft, they are really taking off because now everyone is becoming more and more aware of how important it is to take care of those feet. Well, we always say, be true to your feet and they won't be false to you.
Okay.
So
I like that.
So with that, like I said, we have been getting awesome feedback. And for everyone, or for those of you who are not aware, the Diabasoft and the Borototal are two products that are carried by H2K, and they are actually good, or we encourage those with the foot care, diabetic foot care. The Borototal is awesome for any type of cuts, scrapes, or any type of skin conditions that you might have. My mom, she's a diabetic, and she was having issues with her feet where she found that she had a fungus on her toes, and she used it and she swore by it. So the Borototal, it contains aloe and it contains neem. Both of those, as you might know, have excellent healing properties. So I encourage anyone and everyone to try it. The Diabasoft is also another product that we have that we encourage, that we encourage for foot care use. This is something that should be used every single day. And what it does is it has sesame oil and coconut oil, both of which, as you know, are excellent. They have excellent moisturizing properties. And what it does is it goes in and it helps the feet to remain supple because, we try to avoid any type
Right.
of cracks or anything that can lead to something bad. I don't want to say it, but something bad. But we are always available for samples. Unfortunately, we're waiting for our samples to come in now. We will probably have them by the end of the month. So I'm going to put my number in the chat. So anyone who needs a sample by end of month, I would be happy to assist. And we also would have samples of the Go Gel as well, which would be, I always say it's your Voltaren meets Icy Hot. For anyone who would have any type of sprains, strains, or any type of um, muscle aches, this is awesome for use as well. So, like I said, reach out to me, and I'm sorry for talking so long. So I am going to do what I do best and stay behind the scenes. But thank you so much, Dr. Horsley, and everyone enjoyed the meeting.
Oh, you're quite welcome, and it's always a nice thing to hear your lovely voice. And I wanted you to go ahead and give the disclaimer of ask everyone, I think, to mute themselves.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Thank you. So just a reminder, everyone, a few housekeeping rules. We ask that you keep your microphones muted unless you are speaking, and also your cameras turned off. As much as we love to see your lovely faces, sometimes it pops up and it can be a distraction to the speaker. So we ask that you keep your cameras turned off unless you are speaking or are asked to turn it on for picture taking. Thank you so much for your compliance.
All right, and thank you again. Um, what we have found over the years, our diabetics sometimes seem to tell me they feel better when their sugar is 333. And then recently I had a diabetic tell me that their sugar was too low. I said, well, what's too low? And they sent me a picture of their meter, and it was 107, which is slightly high a little bit. 89 and 90 is perfect. And so people are thinking sometimes in the wrong direction when it comes to diabetes. I don't know if it's part of the metabolic process of diabetes that causes the problem, or if in fact it's type 3 diabetes. And tonight we have Dr. Richard Mann on to tell us a little bit about the relationship between Alzheimer's, either dementia to Alzheimer's, and or its benefits of benfotiamine for these two illnesses that seem to affect the thinking process of our diabetics. Rich, what you got? Any good news from your end in Boca Raton, Florida?
Hello, Victor. Thank you for that kind invitation, introduction. Yeah, lots of good things in Boca Raton, Florida, and I'll share them. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I'm going to be speaking today about benfotiamine, which is a very bioactive form of vitamin B1 or thiamine. We've talked about that a number of times, and Alzheimer's disease. And I identify myself as a chief scientific officer, founder, and CEO of Realm Labs. Now, we're talking about an indication or a use of benfotiamine that hasn't been approved by the FDA or anybody else. But the talk I'm going to give today makes no claims whatsoever. I'm not advocating its use. I'm not claiming anything that it prevents or treats or does anything at all with respect to Alzheimer's, but I think it's reasonable to talk about the science behind what's happened. And that's because we recently was announced within the last 2-3 weeks that there's been a $45 million grant from the NIH, which is a prestigious arm of the government that does research on drugs, et cetera, National Institutes of Health, among other things. And they granted $45 million to a prestigious neurological research institute, Burke Neurological Institute, for the study of vitamin B1 precursor, which is benfotiamine, and Alzheimer's disease in a multi-center trial. So the information I'm going to show you from now, I think had something to do with the decision by the NIH to take a very close look at whether benfotiamine is of any value whatsoever in the treatment of Alzheimer's, and they're putting $45 million behind that. And I want to make another point, just again, I am not making any comment about it. I've been involved with benfotiamine for the past 16 years, and I've been speaking on it for the past 16 years. And I'm going to talk about some of the science behind this, but no one is making any claim whatsoever, other than I'll show you the science and why I think they decided to put so much money behind this in anticipation of getting results that may be helpful. And I'm going to go back to a paper that was written in 1988, and one of the lead authors here is actually running the study we're talking about, Gary E. Gibson, rather brilliant man when it comes to Alzheimer's and benfotiamine. And there's been a whole lot of thought about the fact that Alzheimer's disease is somehow related to thiamine dysfunction or vitamin B1 dysfunction, whether it's low levels of vitamin B1 or it's impaired activity of the enzymes that vitamin B1 is used for as a coenzyme so that it can do what it does, which is basically generate energy from carbohydrates. And this is one of the first pieces that he wrote on this. There are a few studies before this that were equivocal as to whether or not thiamine, large doses of thiamine would help people with Alzheimer's. They were giving people 6 grams to 8 grams of thiamine to oral thiamine, which is a whole bunch of pills, to see if it helped. And the results were equivocal. They were not definitive, or they were slightly suggestive, but nothing that would go ahead and give you the opinion that this was definitely going to work. And in this paper, their conclusion was the activities of thiamine pyrophosphate, which is the active form of thiamine, dependent enzymes, and these enzymes are the ones involved in extracting energy from sugar primarily, and perhaps and in some peripheral tissues are deficient of thiamine, of vitamin B1, in people with Alzheimer's disease, which is significant because vitamin B1 deficiency in and of itself will cause dementia. It'll cause cognitive impairment. You'll be hazy. You'll act in a manner that your brain isn't working properly. So the fact that thiamine-dependent enzymes don't work properly in Alzheimer's, or it appears that, is highly significant. And what went on was that it was studied a little bit more. This is a paper on from the same fellow, Gary Gibson, also from the Burke Medical Research Center, and talked about abnormal thiamine-dependent processes, lessons from diabetes. A lot of similarities with diabetes and Alzheimer's and thiamine deficiency. Thiamine deficiency is well established in diabetics, as is difficulty with thiamine processing in Alzheimer's disease. And I'll make a note that this study was the high dose thiamine that we were talking about. They gave 3 to 8 grams by mouth, which is a bunch of stuff. And they found that these formulas, they may have some benefit in the dementia of Alzheimer type. Then a study was done in 2010. This is out of China. This is I think it was the first study I was aware of with benfotiamine and Alzheimer's. The beta amyloid deposition is what happens with in Alzheimer's, and amyloid precursor protein presenilin-1 transgenic mice is a big fancy way of saying that these mice were bred to have the same deficits as Alzheimer's. So they created these mice, the transgenic mice, and they have and they have Alzheimer's disease. So they show many of the processes going on in Alzheimer's. And when they gave these mice benfotiamine, it significantly improved cognitive impairment. It reduced markers that are commonly seen in Alzheimer's, and it was reason for significant optimism. That same group in China, talking about this guy, I can't pronounce the first name, but his last name is Pan. He gave benfotiamine to actual people with Alzheimer's disease, and this is 2016. He gave them 300 milligrams a day. There were 5 people involved. All 5 of them had mild to moderate Alzheimer's disease, and he gave them 300 milligrams of benfotiamine on a daily basis for 18 months. That sort of level of benfotiamine is commonly used, and it's a level of benfotiamine used for improving nervous system function and improving the function of the nerves in the feet and legs. And they all had some modest improvement. This is a study that was done out of Serbia, and this one is looking for the date, 2019. And in the study, they mentioned that they gave benfotiamine to 3 people with Alzheimer's disease, not only mild Alzheimer's, but some with some more advanced Alzheimer's. And they also claim that the 3 people got better. This study is one of the a largest study that came out of the same institute, the Burke Neurological Institute, in which they looked at 34. They looked at people with Alzheimer's disease. They collected 70 people. 34 of them they treated with benfotiamine. 36 were not. Their conclusions were that benfotiamine treatment was safe. And we know that because it's been around for a long time. There's no adverse effects of any significance associated with it. And in the 2 measures of cognitive improvement, they found that the people with whom they had given benfotiamine, they were 43, there was 43%, they fared 43% better by one marker and 77% better by another marker. They concluded oral benfotiamine is safe and potentially efficacious in improving cognitive outcomes among persons with mild cognitive impairment and mild Alzheimer's disease, but the study didn't reach statistical significance. So if you have a study and you're looking at the effect of something, you never know if that effect is just random. Would this have happened anyway until you have a certain amount of improvement at a certain level? So your level of confidence should be, in science, it's generally 95% confident. They did not reach 95% confidence in their study, but it was suggestive enough that the NIH, it appears, thinks it's worth putting $45 million into another study in which they look at more people. I think they're going to look at like 400 people in the next study. And this I thought was a really remarkable paper. This is published by the same people. And they look at metabolites and biomarkers in cells of people with Alzheimer's. They gave some of them benfotiamine, and others they didn't. And they watched which biomarkers in people with Alzheimer's went up and which went down. And according to their work, the ones that go up, if you give people benfotiamine, those numbers go down. And the biomarkers that go down in Alzheimer's, they went up with benfotiamine. So very, very exciting stuff, very interesting. And there are some similarities in Alzheimer's disease and diabetic polyneuropathy, which is I mostly speak to. So you've got common neurodegeneration. They both have issues with vitamin B1, and vitamin B1 has a very special role in producing energy. It's involved in the production of ATP more than anything else. It's a rate limiting nutrient for the production of energy. So in Alzheimer's, it seems as though there's a theory that it has to do with decreased energy availability and efficiency in the neurons of the brain. And that could be a result of decreased levels of vitamin B1 or inability to process vitamin B1 and the enzymes that it activates. There's reduced insulin activity. They both have increased advanced glycation end products, impaired glucose metabolism, and the neuronal cellular energy deficiency is involved. And that's why, as Victor alluded to before, Alzheimer's disease is sometimes known as type 3 diabetes because of its issues with insulin processing and insulin resistance. And I'm not sure everybody would agree with that title, but nonetheless, there's a reason to consider it that might be a valid way of describing Alzheimer's disease. And diabetic polyneuropathy has been shown, as we've spoken about a number of times before, to improve with benfotiamine. And another similarity is that the NIH thinks that might be of great value in looking at Alzheimer's, benfotiamine, and they gave $45 million to look and study that, and it was just announced. And I want to make sure that I have this disclaimer again. I'm not saying that this works. I'm not saying that there's anything other than the science I just told you. I would never make any claims about this. I would never say that it prevented or modified the disease process whatsoever, because I think that's inappropriate. It hasn't been proven and it hasn't been studied to the point where there's scientific significance, but this is very promising. And I think it's reasonable to talk about how promising it is because of the scientists at the NIH took a look and they thought that this made a lot of sense. Are there any questions?
I have a question
Yes,
about,
Vic.
the dosage of benfotiamine for polyneuropathies. What is the dosage?
You take 2 capsules, 250 milligram capsules twice a day
Okay,
for the first month. What's happening is you're reversing vitamin B1 deficiency or thiamine deficiency. People with polyneuropathies generally, or in the cases of diabetics and people with alcoholism, which are the 2 major causes of polyneuropathy, they go into vitamin B1 deficiency. So you want to restore the vitamin B1 right away, and you give 2 capsules twice a day. And then after the first month, you reverse the B1 deficiency, and people start to feel significant improvement in their symptoms of neuropathy. And then you can drop them down to 300 milligrams a day. The first study that I showed you, the PAN study from China, where
Right.
5 people were given benfotiamine and they all got better. It didn't reach statistical significance, but it was very promising. The dosage they gave was 300 milligrams a day. In the largest study, the study where there were 70 people that didn't reach statistical significance, but was very promising, they gave people 600 milligrams a day.
nice. Thank you. That certainly answers my question. And I really appreciate you bringing this information to us because it's valuable. It affects our community. And it's something that we need to know more about. And once again, without you sharing that information with us, it would be hit and miss as far as us getting that information. So thanks again, Rich.
I'm very, very happy that you invited me, and I am happy to participate. I just want to make sure that everybody knows that I'm not making any claims here, just presenting the science. Hopefully, the study will, and it'll be done in about 5 years. Hopefully, the study will show that there's a safe and effective way of using a nutrient to help people with this problem. But right now, no one can say anything other than it looks really interesting.
Excellent. Well, thanks again. And we're going to move on to our next speaker. Certainly appreciate that. And next we have what I thought was a very unique imaging machine. We're used to giant C-arm machines for those of us that have had knowledge of it or had to use it in the operating room, the giant C-arm. Then they came up with a mini C-arm. And now Turner Imaging has come up with a mini C-arm. And tonight we have Mark Boone to talk to us about the C-arm that their company has and its benefits and its usage. So Mark,
Thanks.
how you
Can you
doing?
hear me okay?
Yes, sir, we hear you.
Okay, I'm doing good, thank you. I'm
Good.
actually here in Orlando. There's a conference that Siemens is putting on for innovations in imaging.
Okay.
So it's been a long week so far. But seems that every time I'm somewhere on the road and it's hard to get on. So glad I was
Right.
finally able to make it.
Right.
So are you sharing the screen at all?
Yeah, you
Let's see.
go to the, Tiffany, where's that share screen button? And right in the middle, you'll move your icon to the bottom of your screen. You'll see the lit green arrow.
Yeah.
It's a green button.
Yeah, I see it. Hold on one second. I got to get on that page again. Second.
And open your PowerPoint and then hit share screen.
All right, here we go. All right.
It's not
Can you see it?
sharing yet, but it's getting close. I feel it. And also I see some requests in the chat room for samples of the Bora Total. And also, for a copy of the presentation for Edison. I'll get that to you, and then I'll give you some information. We're on YouTube now, and I'll enter your email into our invitation list. So
Okay.
any luck with the share screen?
Yeah, hold on a second.
Alrighty.
Entire screen window. All right, so let's go here. Can you see that?
Yes, sir.
All right, hold on a second.
Yep.
Yeah, so just real quickly, I'm sure everybody knows what a mini C-arm is, but I just wanted to give you an idea of what we did. So these are the traditional mini C-arms that have been out there. Of course, there's the mini view from GE, and prior to that, mini view was the 6800, which many of you probably know. That was the old workhorse, and that was the image intensifier with the canister. But now everything is pretty much a flat detector, and they look pretty much as you see now.
Right.
But the point being here that what we did is we took, basically, you see that articulating arm, and then you have your imaging element hanging off of it, which is the C-arm. And then you have the monitor that's fixed on it. So we thought that if we took the brains and electronics in the console and put it in the imaging element, then the imaging element, hence the C-arm, could stand alone. So that's what we did. And in doing that, it allowed us to create a more modular design. So the imaging quality is actually pretty good. Here are some images, but this is functional images. But this is what it ended up looking like.
Which image are you on? Because we see the 1, 2, 3, a lineup. We don't see individual slides. So which one are you?
Yeah, so this is kind of showing you what was there. See, that's the OEC on the left, and there's OrthoScan and the Hologic.
That's number one.
Yeah, so I'll show you some images that we have earlier. How much time do I have? 15 minutes or?
15 minutes.
Okay, so I'm gonna try this kind of a little bit to cover here, and there's some things I want to show you. So hopefully we can go through this, and it'll give you enough of an overview to see what we've done. So you see the system diagram here?
I
Can you see
still
that?
see multiple. I see like 9, 12 images on one screen.
Okay, hold on a second. This is really kludgy. I'm a Teams guy, so this whole Zoom thing is a little bit different. So let me just go to this.
All right,
Can you see
there we
that?
go. Perfect. Now we're seeing each slide that you're referring to. Yes, sir. Very good.
Yeah, so, and I'm not gonna go through all these. I picked this out because there were a few slides in here that I think kind of show what we've done. So the C-arm there is basically standalone. So if you have the C-arm with the tablet there, you can take an image. The C-arm, tablet, and the foot switch are all connected through an 802.11, a Wi-Fi connection, so they have their own IP address. And then, in addition to that, we have the monitor cart to the right, and then the stand there. And that stand has an articulating arm, and you can see the C-arm is attached to it, but that easily pops on and off. So what you have is the articulating arm gives you your more traditional mini C-arm movements that you would see in the OR. And then on top of that stand, we have an articulating arm that holds the tablet. It's not shown in this diagram here. But basically, in doing what we've done, it's created a modular design. That modular design allows you to have different configurations depending on what your application does. So you can have the monitor cart and the stand in the OR. But if you're in the clinic, you may just want the stand with the tablet holder and the C-arm. But what we're going to really focus on is what you're going to probably be using, Victor, and what you would use out in the field is more of this portability, the one on the left. So the C-arm on the left with the tablet, that's what we use when we're on the road. That's what first responders would use. That C-arm is only 16 pounds, and it collapses down. And there's a Pelican case that all that stuff on the left fits into. And total, that Pelican case weighs 50 pounds. So you can check it into the airport, and you can travel around with it. So once you have what's on the left, you have everything you need to image in the field. You can image at home, in the parking lot, wherever you are. You truly bring the modality to the patient in this configuration. So I'm going to stop sharing this.
How long does that battery last? Since it's battery operated, how long does it?
So the battery lasts about 5 hours if you're
Excellent.
using it regularly. And when I mean regularly, the system goes to sleep, and you can program the sleep time from 5, 15 to 30 minutes. So typically I do 15 minutes. So if you don't touch any buttons on the C-arm, it sleeps. So if you let it sleep and only wake it up when you need to image, and that's a 12-second wake-up time, you'll get about 4 hours of imaging. Now keep in mind, this is a fluoroscopic machine. So because of that, if you stay on the pedal, you get frames, and it holds the last frame. It's called the last image hold.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, you have a cine mode machine that holds the last frame, and that's basically your still shot. But you can go back and play those frames. You can pull a slice out of that sequence. But the benefit of that is extremely low dose. So your full-size C-arms that you're accustomed to, not the ones I've shown, but the larger C-arms that
Right.
you see, those have about 250 MA. We use 0.4 MA. Actually, it's 0.37. So we use less than 4/10 of 1 MA,
Love it.
and it's pulse. So just to put it in perspective, it's very, very low dosage for the patient and for the staff, but in turn, you get very good image quality. So I'm going to try to see if I can go back to sharing something here. Okay. Bear with me 1 second.
Just take your time, because I was attracted to the size of the unit. How tall what are the dimensions of the unit?
So when you see the actual dimensions, it'll blow your mind. The height of it is at about 4.5, is about, I'd say, just under 2 feet tall, and it's
Mhm.
16 pounds. 15 pounds without the battery, and
Right.
16 pounds in its entirety.
Excellent.
Okay, hold on a second. All right, so I'm not going to spend much time on the product configuration. I think you've got the gist of it, but what I want to talk about before I share this next screen, guys, is we've done a lot with this. We got our product release, our FDA approval back in October of 2019, and then we launched the product at that time. But then we were hit by COVID in 2020, so it kind of slowed down some of our markets. But having said that, when you look at the traditional mini C-arm market, which we decided to address and which gave us the easy path to FDA clearance because it was similar to what's already out there. But the strong points of our system, which is the mobility and the wireless nature, that really isn't something that interests the people in the OR and the surgery center. So ironically enough, the markets we're targeting really didn't care about the mobility. If you've been in the OR, and you guys have, the C-arms sit in a corner when they bring it in the room and they use it. So they don't really
Right.
care about taking it outside the OR or imaging anywhere else. However, that was just our launching point into the market. What we're really excited about are these other markets. The first responders, using it in the military. Obviously, the sports teams use it. So I have multiple units with the NFL and the Blue Tent. Baseball teams have it in the dugout, etc. So we started looking at some of the hardware guys because they do these cadaver labs. And this was perfect for the cadaver labs because they only need the portability package. And because cadaver labs are usually just pieces of the body, it was very easy to just bring this to workstation to workstation to workstation, and the labs go very smoothly. So that's how I actually hooked up with Victor. I think it was the minimally invasive foot and ankle show
Right.
that we met there, and that captured his attention. And then he started thinking about, well, if I bring this to where we're doing our stuff, we have poor power capabilities. There are brownouts. Sometimes there's no power at all, or you lose power during your procedure. So the benefit of this, of course, is that'll never happen. As long as you have your batteries charged, you'll have full power, and you can use it any place where the infrastructure and the main power is non-existent even. So we started talking about, well, maybe we bring it to a couple of Victor's labs and then go and support a few cases in the field. And ironically enough, at that lab was a Dr. Herzenberg. I don't know if you guys know him. He's out of Johns Hopkins, but he does a lot of work humanitarian work, mainly like limb lengthening in third world countries. And they'll do procedures for people that can't afford it, and the resources and the infrastructure isn't there or in place for them to do what they need to do. So we gave him a unit to take to Nigeria on his last trip, and it went very well. It was a huge hit. The cases went off extremely well. He came back to Utah, to where our main headquarters are, and he gave a presentation and talked about his next steps for what he wants to do. So he wrote some papers. He actually roadmapped what he wants to do going forward, the other places he wants to target, other third world countries. And I started thinking, this is kind of dovetailing, I think, I know what Victor's trying to do. So, and our company is all about the humanitarian aspect. So yes, we have these other markets and we need to make money, but we also think it's important as a company to use this technology where we think it can benefit the most. And I do believe it's a home run for the humanitarian efforts due to the portability factor and the battery nature. So before I show this next slide, I also want to point out that the military saw this and the Air Force got really excited. And they said, well, if we had this and we could use this singular modality for all parts of the anatomy, it would be great. In other words, if they could get it around the torso, because right now, our free space, which is the tube distance from the tube head to the detector, is about 13 inches, which is fine for extremities. And that was the target for many SAMs. So yeah, our shoulder, foot and ankle, elbow, knee, thigh, femur, we can get all that in there. But when you start getting into like trying to look at the chest or anywhere in the spine outside of cervical, it became a challenge. So the Air Force has funded us on our Gen 2 project, which is still a couple years away, but it's a bigger version of this, which is going to have a larger detector, more power, and a larger free space, most importantly, so that we can access all parts of the anatomy.
All right. Well, you
So
got a
let's
few
see
minutes
if I can-
left, so we'll check out that next
Okay.
slide.
Yes, I'm going to end with this. This will be good.
Righty.
If I can get it to work. Yeah, did you see that was on the screen?
Another, it's still looking at you.
Okay.
This share
Yeah,
screen.
that's fine. Yeah, hold on a second.
All
Give me
right.
1 second. All right, here we go. Oh. Okay, can you see that?
It's warming up. There it is.
Okay, so these are some shots that Dr. Herzenberg took in Nigeria just a few weeks ago. And these are hot off the press. He sent these to me. You can obviously see the Smart Suit with the tablet. So even though we don't have the monitor cart, which has the 27-inch touchscreen color high-def medical grade monitor, and then we have the articulating arm, it's not needed in applications like this. And you can pretty much, as you see, do what you need to do with just a tablet. There it's sitting in a docking station. And then you see the Smart C itself, draped. And we have drapes for this in standalone mode. And that docking station also has ports on it. So if you wanted to hook it up to an HDMI feed and go to a larger monitor room, you can do that. But for this, he was using it, as you can see. And it was awesome. You saw the outside of this surgery center where he's doing these procedures. It looked like a hut. But yet inside, he had this state-of-the-art technology, all battery operated, that he could take from table to table and station to station very easily. And the image quality was quite good. So
Excellent.
that's all I have. I think there are only about 10 slides here, but since these were fairly recent and it kind of, like I said, dovetails nicely into what I think ultimately, Victor, we're going to be able to do and achieve something similar when we start getting this out in the Bahamas and to some of the smaller islands where power is an issue. We'll just take this, we'll put it in the Pelican case, and we'll move it wherever you want to go and do these procedures. We'll bust it open, and we'll run some tests, do some test cases, and see how this goes. So
Good.
that's all I have as far as sharing stuff. If you have any questions for me, I'd be happy to try to answer them. And sorry it was a little haphazard, but I wanted to put together as much as I could to give you a gist of how we got to where we are, why we did it, and where we'd like to ultimately go with other markets with the Smart C.
We're
So,
working on
thank you.
some, we're working on some funding. And you're welcome. And I want to thank you as well. That was excellent. We're working on some funding, maybe some grant money, so we can go throughout the Caribbean with your imaging system and utilize it to our fullest potential, as well as the patients, because I think this is a good thing. I just wanted to introduce that to everyone this evening. I don't see any questions on the chat room right now, so you hold tight. If anything comes up, I'm going to go ahead and introduce the next guest.
Okay, I'm gonna go mute. Thank you.
All right, sir. Thank you so much. And next, by popular request, we have Crystal Woodside. She's the nail care doctor. She was on a Zoom or two ago and did a stand-up job. I was just so proud. Having heard her speak before, so it was no surprise to me, but then everyone really enjoyed, and she generated a lot of interest in the Medi-Pedi. So, so Crystal, what do you know about these Medi-Pedis that makes everybody start sitting up in their chair and paying attention? What's going on?
So what's going on with the Medi-Pedi is that the Medi-Pedi is available for any and everyone. So I could go right ahead and start sharing my screen and letting persons know a little bit more about what is a Medi-Pedi. Because I know you're eager to hear a little bit more about it. We would have discussed, like Doc said, a few episodes ago, but definitely I got some photos for you as well, so you could see some before and after pictures and what is being done in this network of what is called medical professionals for nail technicians.
All right. We know you work at Foot and Ankle International on Dean's Lane in Nassau, Bahamas. But
That is correct.
how about for those who are trapped at home for whatever reason, where it's so expensive to move them, they're bedridden or chair-ridden, just not mobile. Do you also make house calls, and is it the same sterile technique that at the house that you have at Foot and Ankle International?
That is correct. So the same
Okay.
sterilizing technique that I would use within the clinic setting of Foot and Ankle International, I carry that throughout the residence as well, throughout the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, because it's not just here in Nassau alone. I also travel to the Family Islands, and I've been doing that for a number of years now.
Wow, okay, nicely done. So a nice piece on Cat Island where the new
You
prime
saw that
minister.
recently, eh?
Yeah, that was nice. Make
Yeah,
me
I saw
wanna-
those waters. I was like, I need to get on Cat Island.
Exactly. I thought Nassau had some beautiful waters. It was
Mhm.
more and more beautiful as each family island you go to. The
Yes,
water-
and I think the waters, we could say turquoise waters, but trust
Yeah.
me, the colors change, I think, as you travel out the whole entire stretch of the islands, because when you go to Eleuthera or when you go to Harbor Island, it just feels like the water is just different.
Okay, I was in Chicago over the weekend, or over the past week, and I saw people swimming in Lake Michigan with the boats, and my only comment was, you can't see the bottom. So, and the person in the car said, yeah, don't let your feet touch the bottom, whatever happens.
Yeah.
Lake
Hopefully they had a wetsuit on.
Yeah.
Yes, a
So
wetsuit.
definitely coming from Caribbean islands,
Yeah.
that is one thing you would very rare find a Caribbean individual do.
A wetsuit, all right. All right. So what else you gonna share with us? Got that PowerPoint?
Yeah, got that PowerPoint presentation for you.
Oh, okay.
And you can let me know if you can see my screen.
It's cranking up right now. Yes, there you go. Oh, my goodness.
So let's start this from the beginning. Okay, great. So yes, Medi Pedi, take care of what takes you there. That is my favorite saying to everyone that I meet, because I tell persons, these are your money makers. So yes, my name is Crystal Woodside. I'm a doctor of nail technology, a certified massage therapist, and a certified esthetician. So what is a Medi Pedi? Over the past 10 years, Medi-Pedis have been placed in the spotlight due to the shortcoming and oversight of product manufacturers and beauty professionals globally. A Medi-Pedi is a non-invasive, dry, medical-grade pedicure, hence the word Medi-Pedi. So it is performed by a foot care specialist like a nurse or a medically trained nail technician. Medi-pedis are also referred to as wellness pedicures, and this is what I refer to them as within my practice. So this style of caring for the feet is not just aimed at cleaning the feet, but examining the health of the feet, the skin, and the nails as a whole, okay? So with professionals, like Doc said, professionals who are trained in best practices and standards to be able to recognize medical conditions, disorders, deformities of the feet and the hands, so to educate and give recommendations on the various referrals or products that you need to use in order to have that upkeep of a health to your hands and feet. So a little bit more within how a Medi-Pedi would be facilitated from any one of these foot care practitioners is that within the service, disposable items are used, implements are sterilized in an autoclave, ensuring aseptic techniques are carried out in a clean environment, okay? We assess the feet, we use cleansing on the feet, we apply callus softeners and not callus eliminators. With callus eliminators, they are very harsh for the skin and can cause irritation. And also you have persons experiencing burning during their services of just having a regular pedicure being done, all right? So additional within that service, you would have sanding or reducing of calluses on the heels and the ball of the feet. Typically, an e-file is used, which is the electronic file, and a burr. Also being used within a service would be stainless steel foot files that are able to be autoclaved and sterilized as well. And also disposable foot files, okay? Nail trimming is done, the shaping and everything is done for the toenails. Massage applications, of the ending product to moisturize the feet is also used within the service. So that main ingredient that we explain to everyone, you would want to have a product that has urea inside of it. So urea would normally come within a cream form or a mousse form. And with that ingredient, it helps to retain the moisture in the skin. You don't want any moisture to be lost, because the loss of moisture would then, you would start to experience cracks and fissures within the skin, and we do not want that, because it then will lead to persons experiencing infections, okay? And we want the skin to stay hydrated. Now, persons know me, depending on the type of service that you're coming in for, whether it's to address the soles of your feet or your nails. As it relates to the nails, sometimes polish cannot be applied. We want to make sure that you're taking care of your nails and not only just your feet. So if you might be experiencing various discoloration, lifting, or possible nail infection, that is something that we need to address. We need to target what the problem and the issue is and get started with the necessary recommended treatments, okay?
Okay.
Yes, it definitely is important to care for your feet. No matter if you are young, no matter if you are old, you have to care for your feet, because you can develop corns, calluses, bunions, ingrown nails because of improper footwear that we find a lot of individuals are wearing these days. And you rarely have shoe companies that provide the adequate spacing that is needed for individuals to spread their toes within their shoes. So having a pedicure or a medi-pedi ensures that your feet stay hydrated, they are clean, they're feeling hygienic, and persons making sure that those who are even elderly, who are maybe having poor circulation, that their feet are attended to, because you would have that community that may not be able to touch and reach down to the bottom of their feet. You also have diabetics, as you know, who would have neuropathy, loss of sensation in their feet. They would need to ensure that their feet are inspected on a daily basis. And along with that, have an annual review to monitor their feet by their physician for any changes that they may experience. Problems within the feet can span from a wide range of issues. I pulled out this photo, so I saw the most top 10 problems that individuals can have with their feet. Just by a show of your emoji hand in the chat or on your screen, show if you have any one of these experience going on your feet right now. Some persons may experience bunions, corns, calluses. You may even have a flat foot, possible ingrown or involuted nail. Persons may experience onychomycosis, which is athlete's feet, and fungal of the nail or the feet itself. These are some problems that persons are experiencing on a daily basis, and it's going unnoticed. Within having a pedicure or medi-pedi, the recommendation of having an at-home care product is indeed ideal, because it does not just stop from you sitting in the chair having a service done. 80% is what you also do at home. So having a routine at home, making sure that you are able to moisturize your feet on a daily basis. If you are using a solution to care for whatever the problematic issue may be for your nail, as you can see to the photo there on the right-hand side at the bottom, this person is experiencing some type of nail abnormality, and they labeled it as a nail fungus. We can see that there's lifting. We could see the difference in the discoloration. It's a little bit yellow. And after a period of 18 weeks from using your at-home product, being consistent with it, you will have results. And this is a foot care line that is used within the service. There are many foot care lines out there that has urea inside of it as well. But I just thought to highlight FootLogix. This is a product that I can vouch for. I've been using it within my services for a number of years now. And it's persons and clients, as well as patients, they are seeing the results. Within a medi-pedi, or with having a service to be rendered by a medical nail technician, you also have the option of, if there's a problem with your nail, whether it may be an involuted nail, meaning that it has an excess curvature to it, there are nail correction systems that can be used. For individuals who would have gone through their surgery and having their nail fully evolved, removing everything or a portion of the nail, there is also nail reconstruction. So with the nail correction, it alleviates any pain, any discomfort that you may feel from the nail. It even reduces that pressure from the lateral nail wall. It helps to correct that curvature of the nail. It is simple, fast, and it is painless. There is no pain, no downtime, and you could even wear polish on top of these bands as well. As well, for the nail reconstruction, you can have your choice of any polish that you would like, or even gel polish. Because with the nail reconstruction, you are applying more of a prosthetic toenail. So it gives that individual a cosmetic appeal as if they have a nail. And it's healthy because of the type of ingredient that it is. It's not an acrylic, it's of a gel-like material, and is that medical grade. So your nails are able to breathe. And if you're using any nail treatment, it's still able to treat the nail underneath that particular solution, okay? So this is what I was talking about when it comes to the bands. You would see on the left-hand side, this is the BS brace system. And on the right-hand side, this is OnEffects. This is an awesome, awesome, awesome system to be using right now. It's blowing me away. My clients are being blown away by the results because they are seeing it, they are feeling it, they are experiencing it. And I am so excited to be able to offer this to clients and patients. If you're going to get a pedicure done, please avoid and do your best to make sure you are attentive, because I know once individuals sit in the seat, their feet are up, they're relaxed, they black out. Okay? How many of you guys have blacked out before during a pedicure service? Like you wake up, be like, it's over and it's done with already? But during a pedicure service, please do not allow the technician to use these type of tools on you. You would see on the left-hand side, these are the foot rafts. They actually, over a period of time, continue to cause tearing within your skin. All right. And on the right-hand side, there are many states, there are many areas, especially in the United States, where the Creo blade is actually banned from being used. All right. So please be careful, because all of these implements right here, all of these tools, they can cut. And you experience a cut, especially if you're a diabetic, that poses a big problem and issue to your health. So these are some lovely photos. Can you guys still see everything?
Sure can.
Awesome.
Yep.
So these are some lovely photos. You will see up to the top on the left-hand side. These are some of the tools that I normally use. You can see the files, everything is disposable. You will see that the tools are actually in a sealed pouch. They are also sterilized right here on the right-hand side. You would see the autoclave. You want to ensure that your nails do not grow longer than over your toenail bed. You can see to the bottom photo, this was a patient that came in just to have their nail trimming done. And if you take a look at the middle photo, you would see the impression that the nail actually left. That can cause a serious problem because it can pierce the skin and cause an infection. So these are some of my cases that I'm still working on. I'm still compiling some photos and everything together. To the bottom, you would see right here where the light is, you would see the procedure being done for the OnEffects. And next to that, to the right, is actually the BS-based brand, the BS band that is placed on the nail. You can see it's translucent. There's hardly anything that you can see there. And that's why persons love that so much, because the OnEffect still gives a little hump to it because it's a composite that is placed on the nail. Here are some more photos. I just love this particular client. On the left-hand side, you will see the various cracks that he has to the balls of his feet. We are taking care of them. He is doing his at-home foot care routine to be done on a daily basis. And to see where this client started from to where he is now, I am just cheering him on. So these are some of the results of how persons, or the results what persons would see from a medi-pedi. In the middle, you would see an individual, a female actually, she is in her early 60s. She's having some deformities and infection to the nail. And over the course now of 3 months from using a solution that we have recommended for her to use, she has experienced some serious results. These are so amazing because the nail in itself has already started to reattach to the bed. And to the right, you would see the Oni fix that was applied for this 90-year-old that was experiencing some pressure to her side walls. And we placed a full band as well as a T-band to help lift that side of the nail up. And you can see the photo to the bottom. She was so excited and she was happy that she got the relief that she needed. So here are some tips for you guys. Trim your toenails after washing your feet when your nails are definitely wet. Cut them straight across rather than curve fashion to help prevent any ingrown from your any ingrown toenails. And do not cut them straight. Do not cut into your corners. Use an emery board to smooth out any edges. Please be careful when you're cutting your toenails. Make sure you are not cutting them too short, because if you cut them too short that it goes above the bed, you can cause a gap between your nail and your nail bed, and you're liable for infections, okay? If you cannot reach your toes, please seek your podiatrist or foot care provider to ensure that you are having the necessary service rendered to you. Never attempt to remove any corns or calluses and warts or any foot lesions. See your podiatrist. And use a foot care mousse that has urea inside of it. It definitely would be helpful to your foot care routine for a pedicure or a medi-pedi. So thank you guys very much for listening in. I hope this wasn't too boring for you, and definitely take care of what takes you there. Again, my name is Crystal Woodside, and thank you, Doc, for inviting me again.
Oh, you're welcome, and thank you again so much for joining us. Some of those nails, you were very nice to us. I know you see some feet that almost make you want to barf a little bit. So you
No,
were
man, Doc, I couldn't show those type of feet. I
Yeah.
think I would have lose everybody on the call if I did.
Yeah, we don't want to freak anybody out tonight.
I think persons want to eat their dinner afterwards, maybe.
Exactly, right. And not throw it up. No binging and purging. All right, well, thanks so much. We're going to move on. If we have any questions, we'll take it at the end. We have our final speaker for this evening, and that is Hillary Duncombe. She is an entrepreneur, a book writer. She has a wonderful book out called Differently Different, as Different Can Be. And she has other projects in the works. So I asked her to come on and again and talk to us about some of her perspectives when it comes to, she's a native of Nassau, and some of her perspectives when it comes to whether it's diet or healthcare or education. And just a general term, when I invite Hillary on, I just say, what's cooking, good looking. So what you got?
All right, thanks for having me. I have to mention, I notice you're spoiled already. You're already talking about how the Chicago Ocean or lake is not like the Bahamas. Nowhere is like the Bahamas.
Right.
So I just
Correct.
wanted to add that. But thank you
Correct.
again for having me. Again, I'm Hillary Duncombe, and I'm so delighted to be here. I want to talk about something really simple tonight, and something that we tend to neglect a lot. And this is in reference to both diabetics and everyone else. And that one thing is this. Does anyone know what this is?
Vodka?
Vodka, yeah, I was gonna say
But
that.
no. What do you think it is?
Okay, gin.
Funny. Well,
Water.
if you guess water and not vodka,
Water. What's that?
that's what we're talking about tonight. And a lot of times, as we know, people forget about it. People neglect it. And I'm going to share my screen here. And that's what we're talking about. Can everyone see that?
Okay.
Okay. And that's what we're talking about tonight, water and diabetes. And so let me ask you guys a question. You know, I love the audience participation. So we'll
Do.
go into this. And let me ask you, are you drinking enough water? I need you to raise your hands, put it in the chat box, whatever you think. Just be honest with yourself. What do you think? So, I see a so there, Mark. Okay, I see that a so. All right. So we think we're drinking and not a lot or enough. Some people think, not really. But this is very important. This simple thing is very important, especially when we're talking about diabetics. Now, how much is enough? That is the question. How much is enough? And so, if you're diabetic, you should be drinking a lot of fluids. We know this. If we're talking about a woman, we should have 1 to 3, that's 2.5 cups a day. If we're talking about a man, we're talking about 2 liters, that's about 8 to 5 cups a day. But this doesn't mean that you can't drink more.
Oh, Jesus.
There's no such thing as too much water. At least I don't know. There's a lot of doctors here, so if there's some type of condition that you shouldn't have too much, you guys can let me know. But there's no such thing. So let's move on here. All right. How do you know you're not drinking enough? And that's a very important question because when it comes to diabetics, you can be dehydrated and you don't even know. And when you do know, it's too late. It's already severe. You have all these different symptoms and you just don't know why. And some of the symptoms here are dry mouth, thirst, headache, dry eyes, dry skin, dark colored urine. That's a big one. Dizziness and fatigue. So these are some of the things, even for non-diabetics, if you're experiencing some of these things, you're not drinking enough water. So why is this important? Very good question. Again, simple, something so simple. Why is this simple thing so important? And these are some of the reasons. So water carries nutrients and oxygen throughout the cells of our bodies. Very important. It flushes out bacteria from your bladder. It aids in the digestion of meals. It prevents constipation. Big deal, because if you're constipated, that throws your whole life off. It normalizes your blood pressure. It maintains a stable heartbeat or helps you to maintain a stable heartbeat. It cushions your joints, very important, protects your organs and your tissues from a variety of potential damages or damage. It regulates your body temperature and it maintains the electrolytes or the sodium levels in your body. And so we know these things are very important for diabetics. Let's move on here. All right, screen is moving a little slower than I am. So I want to show you a video, just some more wonders of water. And this video is a really important video because water is more than just drinking it, it's all around us. So let's just watch this video, and I promise it's a real quick, interesting video.
Water. From space, it is our planet's most striking feature. We find water everywhere that we find life. And this is no coincidence. For each drop of water has extraordinary properties that are essential for all living things. For example, North American redwood trees can grow to be over 100 meters tall. Water, carrying nutrients, must travel from the roots all the way up to the highest leaf. How does water overcome gravity to reach these great heights? To help answer this, notice what happens when a narrow glass tube is placed in a dish of water. Water begins to rise inside the tube. What causes this to happen? As we have considered, water is a polar molecule. That is, one side has a negative charge and the other side has a positive charge. As a result, water molecules form what are called hydrogen bonds with other polar molecules, including the glass molecules just above them in the sides of the tube. At the same time, the bonds between the water molecules pull the surface taut and draw up the molecules below, like links in a chain. These same forces, adhesion and cohesion, are at work in trees. Water rises inside the trunk of a tree via tiny capillaries, or tubes. Meanwhile, as water evaporates from the leaves, it creates an upward pull that is transmitted through the chain of water molecules below. Together, these forces lift the water, carrying vital nutrients to each limb, branch, twig, and leaf. All around us, this amazing process is quietly at work in plants, from the smallest wildflower to the tallest tree, which in turn provide food and oxygen for humans and animals. But perhaps our most direct and personal connection to water comes from its role within our own bodies. From the blood that circulates through our veins to the fluid around and inside our cells, water is the perfect medium for life. As a powerful solvent, water breaks down salts, minerals, and other nutrients, carrying these in solution to nourish our cells. As a chemical reactant, it is essential in the digestion of our food. Even proteins, the fundamental building blocks of our cells, have a special relationship with water. To function correctly, a protein must be folded into a specific three-dimensional shape. And this crucial folding process is guided by subtle interactions between the protein and water. Yes, in every way, the properties of water are precisely balanced to support life. Without water, our cells would be as dry and lifeless as a harbor in the middle of a desert. Instead, water energizes our cells, keeping us active, healthy, and alive. What an extraordinary creation water is, and what a unique role it has been given in sustaining all living things on our beautiful planet Earth. On every level, from the tiniest molecules to the vast oceans spanning the globe, water is masterfully interwoven with the fabric of life. It is a powerful and daily testimony to our wise Creator, Jehovah God, the one who made the heaven and the earth and sea and fountains of waters.
All right, everyone. So we see how important water is. Very important. So let me ask you, after that video, do you think you're drinking enough? Do you think you need to drink enough? Well, drink more. What do you think? Ah, I see the baby again. Okay. Well, it's definitely something to think about because without water, we have nothing. So thank you everyone again for having me. Once again, my name is Hilary Duncombe. My email is the same as my first and last name, hilaryduncombe@gmail.com. As Victor said, I have my book there, Differently Different as Different Can Be, and it's beyond a children's book. It has a lesson for everyone. If you want to book me for an event like this or just to speak at a school, library, there's my number, there's my contact information. Thank you again, everyone. Bye-bye.
Well, thank you so much for your presentation. Excellent as always. And it's no laughing matter, but so many people drinking the, let's say sodas, and I'll say colas, or not to call any name brands. They're drinking that green and red liquid alligator juice, otherwise known as Gatorade. It's supposed to replace the electrolytes, but like if you drink the Gatorade, you still need water to carry those electrolytes around the body. So that was it's not only a surprise that you would talk about water because it's one of the least popular things around, but I'm glad you brought it to light, and hopefully people will start drinking more water and less sugary sweet beverages, because it's a fact that sugary sweet beverages dehydrate people, and that's not a good thing when you're not when you are dehydrated. And I love that photo about the docks with the canoes and boats at the desert dock. And so how can your nutrients get where they're going if you're not drinking enough water? So thanks once again. And I want to thank everybody this evening. We went a little bit over time, but every topic was so interesting this evening. I'm not into rushing anybody, so a few extra minutes is well worth it. And I certainly appreciate everyone, all of our guest speakers, all of our sponsors, and all of the individuals and all of the persons who came and joined us this evening and every month. And next month, instead of the last Wednesday of next month, I think we'll post it for this Zoom presentation for the next to last Wednesday, because I have a obligation on that day, and I'll be traveling like Mark, who's always traveling, and I won't be available and don't feel like rushing in from the airport to do the Zoom. So I'll send out a notice to everyone. I'll get the emails off the chat, and I'll get the recordings to everyone from the email guest list on Zoom. Make sure everybody gets the recording. And also I'll post our YouTube and Instagram presence so you can follow us or keep up with us as needed. So Tiffany, if you are around, and if not,
I'm right here. I forgot to unmute.
Okay, I understand. I wanted to just say thank you for hosting us once again this evening, and we'll look forward to joining in with you next month for our Zoom as we try to manage and reach the tipping point of this diabetic crisis in the Caribbean. It's very devastating, and it causes a lot of problems for those individuals, especially if they're the breadwinner of the family or one of the breadwinners of the family, when you're having amputation. And along with that goes poor vision, dialysis, kidney problems, polyneuropathies, numbness of the hands and feet, and a myriad of problems associated with diabetes. And a lot of times type 2 diabetes is reversible. So since we did stay a little overtime, I didn't see any other questions in the chat room. Did anyone have any comments before we log out this evening, before we check out?
I have a quick one. So I taught martial arts for about 15 years, and we were always told the students, if you drank twice your body weight in ounces of water, that would be. I guess that'd be a question for our guest. Does that sound about right to you? Twice your body weight. So if you're 100 pounds, that would be 200 ounces of water.
What do you think, Hillary?
You know, it sounds about right, but I think that's a doctor question. What do you think, Doc? I'm passing it back to you.
Well, I'm going to take the easy pass. I see Dr. Curry has her hand up, and so maybe she could help us with that answer, and we can entertain her question or statement as well. So, Tiffany, how does Dr. Curry?
Hi, Dr. Horsley.
Hey,
Um,
Doc.
Hey, so yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I've heard that before, twice your body weight in water. So I do attempt that, or try to get at least that amount of water in. So I don't know the exact answer, but that sounds about right.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
But what I was going to mention is that I actually do use the Smart Seat in my office. And it's a great portable fluoroscopy unit. I've been using it since about last October.
It's got to be wonderful because you can take it from room to room as needed, and you can take it from one part of the building to the other part of the building without having to clear a room and wait for an X-ray room to become available. So it definitely has its advantages, and it's once again
So
it's
Doc-
operated. So I'm not surprised that was a
Yeah,
smart
Dr. Kelly.
move. And we'll see if we can
Sorry.
get the White Harris Foundation to help sponsor some of the smart C-arms here in the Caribbean.
It's good to see you, Dr. Kelly. I didn't know you were on the call.
Hi,
What
yes,
a
hi,
small
Mark.
world.
Good to see you too.
Right. Okay, any hand raised by Judith Marzan?
Yes, Doctor. I just want to say I didn't have a question. I just had a comment. I really want to commend everybody. All the presenters was just beautiful and very clear for everyone to understand. And that's very appreciative because as we all know, everybody have a pitch, but it not to really help us personally. But I really benefited from everyone's and especially not taking favoritism from Hillary with the water because that is sometimes something that is missing in our life. But everything started with water. Even those sugary drinks, it started with water. So the
Right.
point is they forget the root. I always say to my husband, I said the root of the matter. So everybody really touched to the root of the matter, and I appreciated that.
Sweet. You're right about that. Thank you so much. Dr. Mitchell, well, welcome this evening, and I see you have your hand raised.
Yes, good evening, everyone. Yes, excellent job as usual, Dr. Horsley. I just wanted to clear it up. It's half your body weight in water in ounces, not double. So it's half. So if you weigh 100 pounds, then you should drink 50 ounces of water. You divide that ounce, the 50 by 8, so you know how many glasses you will drink. So it's half your body weight in water.
So no wonder my students were always running to the bathroom. Now I know why.
Right. Well, I didn't know that answer. So I'm very happy you cleared that up, Dr. Mitchell, because
No problem.
I think Mark's trying to get us to be give us hydrocephaly, and water on the brain. So sometimes I think I have
Yeah,
that
actually,
anyway. I don't need a worst case.
I'm an investor in Depends, so
Yeah,
that was
right.
my.
Yeah. Hey, Daryl and Gloria, I see you have a question. Hillary, you're next.
First of all, we would just like to thank you for an excellent presentation. We've learned so much, and we're two retired doctors, and we're working with some people, seniors, about cognitive decline, and we do a program called Seeds of Change, SEEDS. S is for getting proper sleep. E is for making sure you exercise. The second E is become an educator, teaching your brain new things. And the D is for diet, but there's a separate line in diet for dehydration. And I just loved the presentation. And I'm going to be in touch with you. And we love you. And the last S, particularly as you become a little bit older, is stress. According to Dr. Dale E. Bretson, who's done extensive work on cognitive decline and building cognitive reserves, and actually has a book called The End of Alzheimer's. He says that stress is the silent killer. So dehydration plays a big part in stress. You can be stressed just from not drinking water. So I love your presentation. I love all of you. And this is my tall, dark, handsome husband, Dr. Darrell Wayne Cohn, who wants to say one thing.
Very quickly.
Right.
Don't wait until you're thirsty to drink water.
Don't wait.
Always drink before you get thirsty, before you work out, before you exercise, before you go in the garden. If you wait till you get thirsty, it's too late. It's
Really?
out.
Okay.
All right, let's hear it for all of y'all.
All right. Don't wait till
I
you
would
get
like to
thirsty.
add one more
Drink water.
to your equation. I think sleep could be in there because that's something I know I don't get enough of, and I wish I did.
Yeah, water and sleep, right. Hillary, next time you need to give a presentation on sleep. And I see you have your hand up. So,
Absolutely.
SEE.
Yeah, thanks for the hint, guys. That's a good one. But
right.
my question is to Crystal. I don't know if she's still on. Maybe.
Check the chat room and see.
She said yes.
Right, Stella, you on?
She's on.
Oh, good.
Okay, she was talking about an ingredient. I forgot the name. An ingredient that should be in the product when you're using it for your feet. What was the name of that, Crystal?
Urea.
Urea. So what's so special about that ingredient? I don't know if I caught it in your presentation. Can you tell me again, please?
So what is special about urea is that it actually is able to absorb the moisture, to lock in the moisture within your skin. So your feet and the soles of your feet, they do not get dry. We would use various creams, lotion, and then when we look again, our feet are dry, our skin is dry. Because those are more occlusive products that is just resting on the surface of the skin, once it's being exposed to the atmosphere, it dries it out very quickly. So you need something that is going to, one, penetrate deep because the soles of your feet, they have an additional layer of skin. So you want for it to penetrate deep and then lock in that moisture.
Now, can you get that over the counter?
Yes, there are a number of products that you can purchase over the counter that has urea inside of it. There are some products online as well, one of them being one that I highlighted today, which is FootLogix. It has urea. You also have Poto Expert, which is out of Europe as well, that has urea inside of it. And there are distributors in the US for Poto Experts, and you have LCN. LCN is another brand that has urea inside of it. And I'm sure that there are others, Doc, you can inform of those ones because I've heard you mention a few over the years now.
Yeah, that's urea is a product that's what they call is hydrophilic, or it loves water. And therefore, when you do put it on the skin, most lotions just stay on the cornified or the layer or the outside of the skin. But urea, because it loves water, will penetrate. And when they add the skin softeners and the hydrators with urea to the same product, then it makes those other ingredients 10 times more effective, not stronger, but it makes them do their jobs 10 times better because it is sucked into the body and it's a carrier element. So urea, and eventually you'll find where urea comes from, and it doesn't, they must refine it tremendously because I use it on my feet and I recommend it often. But urea is a byproduct of urine, in fact, from mules and horses. And so I'm sure they refine it just like they refine vegetable oils that we use before we buy them on the shelves. So,
I'm
You
sorry.
just answered my question.
So you can use it first and then put on your regular thing afterwards.
or you can actually mix urea with your favorite skin cream and it'll make it work 10 times better because it's sucked into the skin and it's more effective that way. So for example, Amazon has 40% urea, urea, salicylic acid. There's some of those acidics are hydrophilic and they'll just make whatever you're using. So I would mix a little bit, your favorite skin cream with a little bit of urea, put that on your feet or anywhere in dry skin on your body. And I wouldn't use it on regular skin because it's working already, whatever you're using. But some of those pictures that Crystal showed with those super dry cracked heels, the fissuring on the bottom of the skin, broken tissue, then use that and that'll help resolve that as long as the wounds aren't open. if they're open, you use the bora total. And if not, you use the urea or the diabasol and whatever you're using, it makes it work real good.
Nice, thank you.
All right. Well, hey, looks like we went a little overtime this evening, but my favorite part is I didn't have to talk. So I'll just change the date on it again. And sometime this year, I'm going to get to make my presentation. I promise. But everyone, I want to thank you for joining us. I certainly appreciate it. I appreciate the speakers this evening, and Dr. Mann and Mr. Boone and Ms. Duncombe, Ms. Woodside. It's been wonderful. Tiffany, once again, thank you. And you and H2K Canada for helping us make this a successful Zoom. And we will have the copy ready for you within a week or so, and we'll make sure you get, and we'll post them all to you and for you. And you can have them in case you want to share them with friends later, in case they're not available at 7 p.m. on a given Wednesday of any month. So once again, thank you everybody for joining in, and join us next time and this next month. And drink plenty of water, keep your feet nice, and make a good impression when you're taking an x-ray. And thank you, Dr. Mann, I appreciate you. All right, everybody.
Thank you, everybody.
Okay.